No.
I was actually arguing for openness, that what you want when you want openness is presumably data that people can use and understand and criticize. It isn't the flow of garbage that Mark talked about. So you have to think about what understanding of freedom of information do you want if that's your aim. And I think that there you can see very quickly why it's important that the data, and I'm not talking about publication of articles now, data be provided with adequate metadata to enable people to work out what is being observed, for example. It's not complex, is it? You'd like to observe, to tell that. But does that mean competent persons? Yes, it does. It's not an elitist idea. It's open to any of us to become a competent person, but I don't think we'll do ourselves any favor or science any favor if we shoot for a stream of garbage view of disclosure. It's just not, I take it, the reason why people think it's important to have freedom of information.
Can we just clarify, Onora, because you challenged what I was saying about my interpretation of what you said about technically competent persons. You've raised this issue of competent persons again. Are you saying that those releasing the data should decide who are and who are not competent persons to receive the data?
No, of course I didn't say that.
So no, I'm asking you, what do you mean by this competent?
I did not say that.
No. Nora, I'm asking you a question. What do you mean when you talk about competent persons?
I think that when you release data, you better work out how they can be put in a form that enables your audience to understand what you are trying to work out. That is complicated. When you have a very large data set, it may mean supplying metadata. You have to ask, does the person who requests, and remember, if it's freedom of information, you don't know who's requesting your data, can that person interpret what you are doing? And you won't know whether you have done an adequate and serious bit of compliance if you don't know that.
So you're saying you just said you have to decide, can that person interpret what you're giving them? So you are deciding whether that person is competent or not to receive the data.
I just appeal to the audience. If you want misrepresentation, you can have misrepresentation.
Well, I'll appeal to the audience. Is that not what we just heard?
I interpret it as meaning, yes, you've got to judge the person, and
well, one of the
I don't agree.
No, you mistake the nature of the legislation if that's what you think. Because under the legislation, the person supplying data does not know who the requester is. It's a question of the standard that you try to meet. So imagine you have a data set that has, shall we say, 50 terabytes of information in it. Let's say you wrote the software to compile this data set. You know that this is not like releasing an Excel spreadsheet, which any of us can deal with. It's something different. And you've got to make some judgment about the level of competence. Of course, it's not about the people who are...
So who has to make some judgment about the level of whose competence?
I don't mind who it is. It can be the Information Commissioner if you wish, but you might not wish. Or it can be some third party. It can be
kind of one of the issues here,
but I wish you wouldn't personalise this. I'm not talking about
just asking a question. I'm just trying to clarify.
No, you keep on putting a different position into my mouth, which I did not take.
I'm just trying to clarify what you did say and what you didn't say.
What was it you didn't understand?
Well, I hope we've now sorted it out. But the question I had, because you challenged me on my interpretation of what you said, and in challenging it, you actually supported my interpretation of what you said. So now we're all left.
State your interpretation, then.
The interpretation is that someone has to decide whether someone is competent to receive the data which is being put out.
Someone has to decide. I did not say that the data generator has to decide, and that was the position you imputed to me.
We're going to get...
I'm sorry about it. You know how it is when you're misrepresented in public.
Can we move on? Can we move